What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Rhonda here, and I'm back with another video. So we all know about the situation going on in the Middle East with the U.S. Israel versus Iran, that war going on over in the Middle East. So we all know about that. We all see it with how gas is going up right now. Where I live, gas, the highest I think I've seen so far today, which is Saturday, March 4th, 2026, is 4.01 for regular and 6 something for diesel. So gas is constantly going up. Depending on where you live, it might be slightly cheaper, it might be slightly higher, but I think most states for regular is now averaging around $4 or just over $4 a gallon. So yeah, it's just a lot of stuff going on in the Middle East. We know the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. Iran is not budging to open that. I don't think they're going to open it now at all. Maybe President Donald Trump has been saying for weeks now that there's negotiations going on with Iran. Iran saying that's not happening. Someone in the Iran government did say the United States is negotiating with themselves. It is a possibility because we did strike an all-girls elementary school during the start of the war, which the war started back in February 28th, 2026. But we did, somewhere around that time frame, we struck an all-girls elementary school. What the United States said they did not do. They didn't know nothing about that strike on the school. I guess they came up and saw the missile debris and stuff, and what country it could have belonged to, and pinpointed back to America. Now they probably have proof actually of it. Now Iran seemed like a whole different story because we know the situation that happened earlier this year with the attack that happened on Venezuela by the United States. We went in, we attacked Venezuela, we got their president, got his wife, flew him out to New York. They pleaded not guilty. They still in jail to this day. I think recently Nicolas Maduro, which was the president of Venezuela, had a court hearing or something like that just the other day. I don't think they budged or anything, so I think he's back, still locked up to this day. So it's just a lot of stuff going on. We know the situation going on in Europe with Russia and Ukraine, and allegedly Russia is giving Iran intelligence of where our troops and basis is by using satellites to the Iranians. It is possible that Russia does that. We know China voiced their opinion when the war first started with Iran, but I don't really think they're going to really get too much involved. Again, we know the Strait of Hormuz is closed. It's most likely affecting their economy. Most countries is being affected by this war. We've seen it in gas prices. You know, these truckers and stuff like that, and these farmers need these, like, you know, diesel and stuff for their vehicles and machinery and stuff like that. But as most people in most states is dealing with, you know, for regular $4 or just above $4 of gallon for gas. For you live, it might be $5-6. For diesel, where I live, the highest I've seen today was just over $6. So gas is constantly going up almost every week, 10-20 cents at a time. It's not going down at all so far as this war continuing to go on with the United States Israel versus Iran. Now recently, just yesterday, Friday, March 3rd, 2026, the United States was currently looking for a pilot that was ejected from a fighter jet that was shot down, I think, by the Iranians. And until this day, March 4th, March 4th at 5:46, 2026, obviously. I think I kind of said that wrong, but regardless, that pilot is still missing. I'm gonna give you guys an update on that for what happened. I'll read you guys an article in just a second, but it's just a lot of stuff going on. We can go back to the previous days. If you guys don't know what a AWACS plane looked like by the United States Air Force, look it up and see what that plane looked like. It has a big radar on the back of it. However, recently, like a week or two ago actually, the Iranians struck one of our bases, I think in Saudi Arabia, and destroyed one of those planes. And those planes don't look like they're cheap with that big radar at the top. You can tell it was intentionally targeted for that plane because the back of the plane was completely destroyed. The radar was completely off the plane. It just looked half finished, and it looked like a hurricane went through and just tore it up. So with that being said, I'm not going to hold you guys too long. I just want to elaborate on that. I'm going to get into this article because there's a lot of stuff going on in the Middle East. I don't see it calming down at all. We know the Iranians really want revenge after the all-girls school attack that happened during the start of the war. So with that being said, and apparently we're also attacking their universities over there. How true that is, I can't tell you, but I will tell you one thing: this war has a lot of propaganda in it too. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this article. So this article is being reported by the New York Times. It was updated 17 minutes ago, and it's currently 5:48 p.m. March 4th, 2026. And the headline reads, U.S. races to find missing crew member as Trump repeats threats over Strait, which is the Strait of Hormuz over in the Middle East. President Trump said time was running out for his ultimatum to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and Israel struck a major petrochemical complex in Iran southwest. So basically Southwest Iran. Here's a little video of that. But here's the latest. The U.S. military was racing on Saturday to find an American airman who ejected from a fighter jet that was shot down over Iran, even as President Trump said time was running out on his ultimatum to escalate U.S. attacks unless a deal was reached in 2 days. The White House has mostly been silent about the downing of the U.S. F-15E fighter jet by Iranian forces since it was first reported more than a day ago, as well as about the efforts to recover its 2 crew members. U.S. officials said one had been rescued, but the status of the second was unknown as of Saturday. In a social media post on Saturday morning, Mr. Trump did not address the airman's status. Instead, he reiterated that the deadline for his threat to massively bombard Iran power plants would expire in 48 hours unless Iran agreed to stop blockade the Strait of Hormuz, a critical waterway for Persian Gulf oil and gas. Mr. Trump has already delayed the ultimatum twice, saying that there was ongoing talks between the United States and Iran. Iranian officials has publicly dismissed U.S. demands, however, and continue to voice defiance after the 2 airmen were shot down on Friday. This is a brilliant no strategy war they started has now been downgraded from regime change to hey, can anyone find our pilots, please? Mohammed Bagher, I can't pronounce the rest of his name, the speaker of Iran's parliament, wrote on social media on Friday. It was not clear how the airman's fate might play into Mr. Trump's decision making over the next 48 hours as he weighs whether and how to carry out his threat. The downing of the fighter jet on Friday was the first time U.S. personnel and combat aircraft have been shot down in the Iran war since the U.S.-Israeli war begun in late February, which happened on February 28th, 2026 is when the war actually started with the United States, Israel versus Iran. Iranian forces were also seeking to capture the missing American. Iranian officials said, speaking anonymously to discuss ongoing operation, and Israeli officials said Israel's military was sharing intelligence with the Americans and has suspended attacks on Iran in the area where the airman was believed to have been lost. The official, who spoke anonymously to discuss sensitive plans, did not say whether Israel's operations were limited to those actions. The incident also underscored Iran's ability to fight back despite weeks of attacks on its military arsenal. Iran has continued to launch ballistic missiles and drones at Israel and the Arab states across the Middle East, defying Israeli efforts to degrade their capabilities. On Friday, a U.S. Black Hawk helicopter involved in the rescue effort was hit by ground fire, but escaped to safety, and a second U.S. military jet crashed near the Strait of Hormuz, which is currently closed right now. The critical Persian Gulf waterway, according to U.S. and Israeli officials. The pilot in that plane was rescued. Elsewhere in Iran, at least one person was killed when the projectile struck the perimeter of the Bushehr nuclear power plant in southwest Iran on Saturday, according to the semi-official Iranian Tasnim news agency. The International Atomic Energy Agency said Iran has formally notified them of the episode, but that no increase in radiation levels has been reported. The Israeli military did not respond to a request for comment. And that looked like that's it. This is like the little headline for the little highlights that's going on. I can go ahead and read some of them. The petrochemical factories hit Israel on Saturday, which is today, March 4, 2026, struck the Mashner petrochemical complex, a sprawling industrial center in Iran's southwest that plays a significant role in the country's economy. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel said the targeted sites were part of a money machine that brought revenues for the Iranian government. At least 5 people were killed and 170 others injured in the attack on the major oil industry hub, state media of Iran reported. This is in Lebanon right here. Several civilians were killed and more were injured in the southern Lebanese city of Tyre on Saturday, which is today, as Israel issued new warnings for neighborhoods in the city and its suburbs. Lebanon's national news agency said Iranian missiles after its underground missile bunkers and silos are bombed, Iran digs them out and returns them to operation within hours, according to U.S. intelligence reports. Iran Saturday fired ballistic missiles in Israel lightly, wounding 4, according to the authorities. Despite the U.S.-Israeli campaign, Iran has possessed powerful military capabilities and dealt the death tolls. The human rights activist news agency said at least 1,607 civilians, including 244 children, has been killed in Iran as of Friday. Lebanon's health ministry on Thursday said at least 1,345 Lebanese has been killed since the latest fighting between Israel and Hezbollah began, and attacks blamed on Iran. At least 50 people have been killed in Gulf nations. In Israel, at least 17 people has been killed as of Friday. The American death toll stands at 13 service members, with hundreds of others wounded. All I'm going to say is we getting into more of the warmer months, the hotter months. People are going to start traveling even more. However, I would say stay vigilant on where you go, especially going somewhere like to concerts or, NFL games and stuff like that, where it's going to be large crowds, because you do not know who's in the crowd. Yes, most likely it's going to be security. You get checked and stuff, but you can't check everybody. Not everything you can get, you check and stuff like that can, you know what I'm saying. But with that being said, you guys gonna have to be careful, because we know the Iranians and possibly our other enemy countries like Russia and China is out to get us. But definitely the Iranians is definitely out to get us, because the war that we started with their country. Some say that Iran was not really a threat. Israel was. I don't know how true that is. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just be careful on where you go, especially as we get into more of the tourist season. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified each and every time your boy upload a new video. And I will see you guys in the next one. If it's God's will, stay safe out there, and I will see you guys in the next one.